Good afternoon, everyone. It's time for Mrs. Blue Reads, and we are currently reading Judy Moody Was in a Mood by Megan McDonald and pictures by Peter Reynolds. And today we're going to read the last three chapters, and this book is published by Candlewick Press. And the chapter we're currently on is The Funniest Thing Ever. It was pouring outside. Judy's dad would not let her leave for school without an umbrella, and the only one she could find was her first grade yellow ducky one. She wouldn't open a baby umbrella, so she got soaked clear through. The sun was probably shining over the president's house this second, thought Judy. She felt like a bike let out in the rain. Frank wants to come over after school, too, Rocky told her on the bus. And I have a brand new $10 bill from Nene. We can go to Vic's after school and buy something really rare. Did they have any real gold at Vic's, was all she said. In spelling, Judy wrote weasels when Mr. Todd had really said measles. In science, when Jessica Finch threw Judy the ball of yarn for their giant spider web, she dropped it. It rolled out the door just when Miss Tuxedo, the principal, walked past in high heels, and at the Brush Your Teeth Week assembly, Mr. Tooth picked Judy to be a cavity on stage in front of the whole school. She could not get her mind off Stink at the president's house, where she wasn't. Seeing all that real gold, would he get to shake the president's hand, meet the president's daughters, sit in a gold chair? Are flags allowed to talk? She asked Frank. Only if they're talking flags. That did it. There would be no living with Stink once he'd been to the president's. On the bus ride home, Rocky squirted Frank with his magic nickel. Frank snorted, wiping the drips on his sleeve. Judy pretended it was funny. Really, she was thinking, Stink could be petting the president's puppy right now, this very instant. When Rocky said, I can't wait to go to Vic's, Judy grunted. The three of them half ran through leftover puddles all the way to Vic's. Rocky didn't even stop to cross through China and Japan the right way. What's the big hurry? She asked. I need something, said Rocky, but there's only one left and I want to make sure I get it, he said. When they got to Vic's, Rocky went straight to the counter. Over here, Rocky told him. There's still one left. Judy stood on tiptoes to look in a box on top of the counter. Lying in the bottom was a hand. A person's hand. Judy almost screamed. Frank almost screamed too. Then they realized it was made out of rubber. What do you think? Asked Rocky. Rare, said Judy. Ace, said Frank. It looks so real. Fingernails and everything. Rocky bought the hand and 3 fireballs. What are you going to do with your hand? Frank asked. I don't know, said Rocky. I just like it. When they got to Rocky's house, Judy tried to work on her me collage, but she was not in a funniest thing ever mood. All the funny stuff that had ever happened to her seemed to have gotten up and left, marched right out of her brain like a line of ants from a picnic. Rocky showed Judy and Frank his finished collage. Here's Thomas Jefferson in the window of my house for where I live. I cut him out of play money. That's good, said Frank, for Jefferson Street. The piece of cloth is part of my sling from when I broke my arm. The worst thing ever. And here's a toilet paper roll for the TP Club, a secret club I'm in, Rocky said, glancing at Judy. What kind of club has toilet paper? Asked Frank. If I tell you, it won't be a secret. Who's this? Frank asked Rocky, pointing to a lizard. Houdini, my favorite pet. And who's that guy walking through a brick wall? Frank asked. That's my favorite part. My mom made a copy of a picture of the real Harry Houdini from a library book. Judy touched a clump of garlic. Are you trying to scare away vampires or something? That's from the one time when I ate a whole thing of garlic by mistake. The funniest thing ever was that I stunk like a skunk for a week. Like Jaws when it ate that hamburger, said Frank. Like Stink when he takes his smelly socks off, said Judy. Is this you? Frank asked. That's me in my magician hat, making a fishbowl disappear. Too bad you can't make Stink disappear, said Judy. Too bad I'm done, said Rocky. Would have been really funny to put the rubber hand on my collage. That's when it happened. An idea, the funniest of funnies. It orbited Judy's head and landed like a spaceship, the way good ideas do. Rocky, you're a genius. Let's go to my house, Judy said, and bring the hand. You're not a genius, said Rocky. Nobody's home at your house. We could get into all kinds of trouble. Exactly, said Judy. Come on, there's a key hidden in the gutter pipe. Did you forget something? Asked Frank. Yes, Judy said. I forgot to play a trick on Stink. Once inside, Judy raced around her house looking for the perfect spot to leave the hand, a place where Stink would be sure to find it right away. The couch, Toadie's aquarium, the refrigerator, under his pillow, the bathroom. There she is, thinking through all the possibilities. Where? Here? How about here? Or here? Maybe here. I got it. Perfect. In the downstairs bathroom, Judy lifted up the toilet seat just a crack and perched the hand there, its fingernails hanging over the edge. It looks real, said Rocky. This will scare the president right out of him, said Judy, for sure. Back at Rocky's, Judy, Frank, and Rocky knelt on Rocky's bed, looking out the window. Every time a car zoomed by on Jefferson Street, they yelled, "It's them!" Finally, Judy saw a blue van, for real. "Run!" she yelled. "They're pulling into the driveway." Stink was so excited, telling Judy, Rocky, and Frank all about the president's house, that Hawaii and Alaska fell off his hat. Why doesn't he go to the bathroom? Thought Judy. There he is in his flag costume. There's a movie theater, I swear, inside the president's house. A room with a secret door. No lie. Even a clock that tells you when it's time to take a bath. Rare, said Judy. You need one of those. Go into the bathroom, Stink, she wished silently. As if he had heard, Stink stopped his story. Balancing his hat on his head, he walked into the bathroom and shut the door behind him. The lock clinked. Mom and Dad asked Judy about the Mr. Tooth assembly, but her ears returned to the bathroom. "Ah!" screamed Stink. He burst out of the bathroom, hat crashing to the floor, stars flying. "Hey, Dad, Mom, there's somebody in the toilet!" Judy, Moody, Rocky, and Frank Pearl fell on the floor, laughing. There he is, running from the bathroom. Would you run from the bathroom if you found a hand? Next chapter. The Me collage. Stink watched Judy finish her collage after school the next day. "Almost done," said Judy. "It's due tomorrow." Stink pointed. "You still have a bald spot right there next to the picture of Jaws." Judy carefully taped a doll hand from her collection over the empty spot. "Not anymore," she said. "That hand, is it for the trick you played on me?" asked Stink. "Yes, it's the funniest thing ever," said Judy with a grin. "You mean you're going to tell your whole class I thought there was somebody in our toilet? Stink, I'm making you famous." "Couldn't you change my name or something?" asked Stink. "Or something," said Judy. When Judy got up the next morning, it was pouring rain again. Something told her to get ready for a bad mood Friday. "Let's put your meat collage in a garbage bag so it won't get wet," Dad suggested when she brought it downstairs. "Dad, I'm not carrying my meat collage in a garbage bag." "Why not? Did Van Gogh put his Starry Night in a garbage bag?" "She's got a point there," said Mom. "Garbage bags probably hadn't been invented yet," said Dad. "If Van Gogh had garbage bags, believe me, he would have been smart enough to use them." "Honey, why don't you take the bus and Dad'll bring your collage to school after he takes Stink to the dentist," Mom said. "Stink's taking Toadie to school today, so Dad has to drop him off anyway. I wanted to take my collage to school myself. That way I can be sure nothing will happen to it." There she is with her collage. What do you think? Is she going to take it, or is Dad going to take it? "What could happen to it?" asked Mom. "There could be a tornado," said Stink, "and the wind could make you drop it, and it could get run over by a bus." "Hardy har har," said Judy. "Do you have a lot of other stuff to carry?" said her dad. Judy had her lunch, her dad's lab coat so she could dress like a doctor for her talk, had to get better, her doctor kit, and plenty of Band-Aids. "Okay," she said, "but don't squish anything and don't get it wet, and it has to be there by 11 o'clock, and don't let Stink do anything." She gave her brother her best troll eye stare. "We'll be careful," said Dad. Judy rode the bus with Rocky, who practiced his squirting nickel magic trick on her for the 100th time. "Okay, it works," Judy told him, wiping drips from her face. Rocky cracked up. All morning, Judy imagined things happening to her collage. What if it fell into a puddle when her father opened the car door? What if Toadie got out of Stink's pocket and peed on the collage? What if a tornado came, just like Stink said. 11 o'clock came, and her collage still was not there. No sign of Stink or Dad. Judy could hardly listen to the other kids showing their me collages. She kept her eyes glued to the door of 3T. Judy would like to go next? Asked Mr. Todd, startling her. I'd like to go last, said Judy. Frank? I'd like to go last too, said Frank, after Judy. Judy looked at Frank's desk. Where's your me collage? She asked him. I didn't bring it. I'm not finished. I still don't have a club, Frank whispered. Where's yours? My brother's supposed to bring it, said Judy. She glanced at the door again. There he was. Stink motioned for her to come out into the hall. There he is. Stink looked sick. What's wrong? Judy asked. If you tell you, said Stink, you'll be in the worst mood ever. Where is it? Asked Judy. Did you drop my collage in a puddle? Did Toady pee on it? No, said Stink. Not that. Where is it? She asked again. Dad's in the boys' room, drying it off. Judy ran down to the boys' room, pushed the door open, and went right in. Crumpled paper towels were everywhere. Dad! Judy! Is it ruined? Let me see. Dad held up her collage. Right smack dab in the center was a big purple stain the size of a pancake. Not a silver dollar one either. A giant, jaggedy triangle, a great colored lake floating in the middle of her collage. What happened? Judy yelled. I was drinking jungle juice from a box, said Stink, standing behind her in the doorway, and trying this thing with my straw. I'm sorry. Stink, you wrecked it. Dad, how could you let him drink jungle juice in the car? Look, it's not that bad, he said. It almost looks like it's supposed to be there. I'll speak with Mr. Todd. Maybe he'll let you have the weekend and we can fix it. Cover it up somehow. Maybe we can erase it, said Stink, with a giant eraser. There they are. Let me see. Judy held up the collage, looking over. Even with the purple stain, she could still see the rainforest with Dr. Judy Moody in the very middle. And none of the Band-Aids had come off. Never mind, said Judy. Never mind? Asked Dad. It's okay, she said. At least it didn't get run over by a bus in a tornado. It's okay? Asked Stink. You mean you're not going to put a rubber foot in my bed or anything? No, said Judy. She grinned at her brother. But that is a good idea. Look, honey, I know you worked forever on this. We'll make it up to you somehow. I know what to do. Stink, let me have your black marker. They all went out into the hall, and Stink dug a marker out of his backpack. Judy set the collage on the floor and drew a black outline around the big purple triangle. Are you cuckoo? Asked Stink. That's just going to make it stand out more. That's what I want, said Judy. Then it'll look like it was supposed to be there all the time. I'm proud of you, Judy, said Dad. The way you took an accident like this and turned it into something good. What's it supposed to be? Stink asked. Virginia, she said. The state of Pocahontas and Thomas Jefferson. The place where I live. Last chapter. Band-Aids and ice cream. When Judy got back to her class, she put on her doctor coat, walked to the front of the room, and held up her me collage high. She stood tall, as if her brother had not nearly ruined her masterpiece with jungle juice. She tried to look like a person who would grow up to be a doctor and make the world a better place. A person who could turn a bad mood right around. Judy told about herself and her family, including the time Stink sold moon dust, which explained why her brother was a piece of dirt. She traced the outline of Virginia with her finger to show where she lived. She talked about Rocky, her best friend, and Frank, her new friend. She pointed to a paste jar lid taped to a corner and told the class that Frank ate paste for a dare once. Is that Jaws? Asked Brad. The thing that eats bugs? Yes, said Judy. Even though I have a cat, Jaws is my favorite pet. When I grow up and become a doctor, I want to move to the rainforest and search for medicines and rare plants that could cure ucky diseases. Judy pointed out the pizza table from Mr. Todd and other stuff she collected for hobbies. She told the class that she was a member of the TP Club, but that she couldn't tell them what TP stood for. This is a picture my parents took of Stink standing outside the White House in his flag costume, and it just explained why it was the worst thing that ever happened to her. Everybody's favorite part of her collage was when she showed the doll hand coming out of the magazine toilet. So Judy told them about how the worst thing ever turned into the funniest thing ever. There's her me collage. Any questions? She asked the class. Who's the old lady? Asked Frank. Judy explained about Elizabeth Blackwell, first woman doctor, and then gave a demonstration of her doctor skills. She put Rocky's arm in a sling and wrapped bandages around Frank's knee. She pulled out a pretend blood and used how to get better to show how to apply band-aids. That's it, me, Judy Moody. Great job, Judy, said Mr. Todd. Class, any comments? I like how you painted Virginia in the middle of your collage to show where you live, said Jessica Finch, instead of just using a picture of your house. Those tattoo band-aids are the coolest, said Dylan. I have a blister. Can I have one? I have a hangnail. I have a paper cut. I have a mosquito bite. Before Judy knew it, everybody in the whole class was wearing tattoo band-aids. Judy Moody, you are a mover and a shaker, said Mr. Todd. I am? Asked Judy. What's that mean? Mr. Todd laughed. Let's just say it means you have imagination. It shows off some of her band-aids. What had almost become a bad mood Friday had turned into one very fine day. And it wasn't over yet. When she walked out to get the bus that afternoon, Mom and Dad were waiting to take Judy and Stink for ice cream at Screaming Mimi's. I'm getting that blue ice cream, rainforest mist, like you guys always do. Stink jumped up and down, holding his pocket with a toad. Did your teacher like Toady? Judy asked. Yes, but she was almost in the Toad Pig Club, said Stink. Judy cracked up. Mom, Dad, can I ask Rocky and Frank to come too? That's a great idea, Mom said. Outside Screaming Mimi's, Judy licked her rainforest mist scoop on top of chocolate mud, her favorite. She was in her best Judy Moody mood ever. Stink took Toady out of his pocket and set him on the picnic table. Toady hopped toward a blue trip from Rocky's ice cream cone. Toady likes rainforest mist, said Rocky. Hey, Frank, Judy asked. When are you going to finish your me collage? Mr. Todd said I could bring it in on Monday. You're not done yet? Asked Rocky. I still don't have anything for clubs. The dictionary says a club is 3 or more people. Here they are having their ice cream outside Screaming Mimi's. Judy looked at Rocky. Rocky looked at Stink. Stink looked at Judy. All 3 of them looked at Frank. If you pick up Toady right now, you can be in a club, said Judy. Really? Asked Frank. Really and truly, said Judy and Rocky at the same time. Frank crinkled his nose. I don't get it. Rocky laughed. You will. Frank scooped up Toady with one hand. Use both hands, said Judy. Like this, said Rocky, cupping his hands. Just hold him a minute, said Stink. I don't get it, said Frank. Oh, you'll get it, said Judy, Rocky, and Stink. A second later, Frank felt something warm and wet in his hand. He crossed his eyes, and they all fell down, laughing. And there's Toady. And that's the end of Judy Moody Was In a Mood by Megan McDonald. So next week, excuse me, we'll be starting a brand new book. Enjoy the rest of your afternoon in the nice warm weather.